What's up, guys? Rick here with your betting and one and done preview for this week's John Deere Classic. I know many of us are flush with cash from a Cam Davis victory last week, so let's see if we can light that on fire. A couple of live chats this week, 3 of them in total. Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's your standard John Deere Classic live chat for ownership and weather and whatever else you want to talk about. The 8:15 p.m. Wednesday live chat, that's the Jock Market Power Hour, all things DFS, stock market DFS, all things Jock Market, where there's certainly plenty of money to be made, not only before the event, but during the event as well. And then the Cut Sweat Show, the Friday Cut Sweat, always a fun time where we just sit around, watch the golf, data-driven approach into what the cut number is going to be, following the guys at those, near the cut line, and then how that's going to impact the 5 of 6 number, the 6 of 6 number, and all the things that are going to determine how good your weekend is. Okay, that is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday, and it is certainly subject to change. Make sure you get the notifications when I go live, because I'm going to try to time it for the best time of Friday afternoon, depending on what the cut number is at the time. So bear with me on that one. But for now, let's jump into this week's bets and one and done. What you're looking at right now is the tournament predictor tool on RickRunGood.com. This is where I simulate the results of the tournament 1,000 times. We compare it to the odds and we see if there's any value. Now, Sungjae Im won the most in my simulations. He won it about 11.2% of the time, which if you look at his implied odds, about 16-1. There would be certainly value on betting Sungjae Im. Daniel Berger was next, Siwoo Kim, Kevin Streelman, the only golfers to win it over 5% of the time. So the way that I interpret this, there's a couple of ways to do so. I think that both Siwoo Kim and Kevin Streelman offer at least enough upside to win this golf tournament. Siwoo Kim, incredibly volatile, ton of upside. No problem running him out nearly anywhere, especially in a field like this. And then Kevin Streelman, despite the miscut at the Travelers Championship, has been phenomenal. And the one thing that he has really steadied has been the putter. And if he's able to marry the long-term ball striking with the short-term putting, this is a field he should absolutely contend at. It's a field composition that we've seen him contend at before. So I certainly don't mind Kevin Streelman 28-1. If you shop that, let's see what you can get him at. Yeah, anywhere. I mean, I've seen him now 22, 25, or 28-1. I think all of these numbers this week you have to shop, because what happens is when you get a really weak field event like this, there's probably not a lot of money being wagered, especially compared to, we just had the U.S. Open. We're going to have the Open Championship next week. So these books, if they take any type of sizable bet on any of these guys, it's going to move the number. So you might look at William Hill and say, oh, he's 28-1 there. And you look at DraftKings and you say, oh, he's 22, for example. Maybe DraftKings took a larger wager on Kevin Streelman and has moved him. And I think that's going to happen for a lot of different guys this week. So Streelman and Siwoo Kim, certainly viable options. Russell Henley has been really, really good. But let me show you something here with Russell Henley that I think is at least concerning. If you go over to his Holy Grail and you look at his round 4s, just recently, like the last 5 or 6 round 4s he's had, he's been pretty sour, right? The rest of his game's been awesome, but he has now lost, let's see, round 4 at the Travelers, he lost 2.1 strokes to the field. The U.S. Open, 2.8. Round 4 at the PGA Championship, 2.3. Round 4 at the Wells Fargo Championship, 2.7. So his last 4 round 4s, he has lost at least 2.1 strokes to the field. Is it a trend? Is it noise? Is it concerning? Maybe a little bit of all of that. But when you're betting a guy outright, I would like to see him not fail on Sundays as frequently. That's especially in a couple of those weeks he was in contention, the last 2. So I'm concerned about that. And it will probably keep me off Russell Henley. My card's probably going to focus near the top on 2 golfers. So number 1 being Brian Harman. Brian Harman, I discovered this yesterday on the first cut, kind of while I was live, Brian Harman has been unbelievably consistently good. This is Brian Harman's game logs here. He has now, since the summer of 2020, since the 3M Open last year of July, so basically a year ago, has lost strokes to the field once. One time. He lost 0.32 strokes to the field at the RSM Classic, missed the cut on the number. The other time in that stretch that he missed the cut, because he only missed the cut twice in that stretch, was here at the PGA Championship, but because that's top 60 in ties, he actually gained a third of a stroke to the field and missed the cut. It's an unbelievable stretch of golf. And you look at, the last 8 or so, he's been phenomenal. He's been piling up top 10s, piling up top 20s. This is a course that should set up well for him. So certainly going to be focusing my attention on Brian Harman. 16-1 is the number that I got him at. The other guy is Seamus Power. Now, this number is all over the place. There is still 45-1 in some places. He's been bet down to 33-1 in other places. So you really have to do your homework here. Seamus Power has a lot going for him. Not only is it the 4 consecutive top 20s, with 2 of them being top 10s. Not only is it the 6 consecutive events on approach that he has gained in, but it's his standing. It's the fact that he's 140th in FedEx Cup points, trying to get to the playoffs, trying to secure his PGA Tour card for next year. The motivation for all of these guys is huge. But Seamus Power can see the light at the end of the tunnel. He's got the great results coming in, and you start to consider, what is his schedule going to look like? He doesn't have full status. Well, he's not going to play the WGC. He's not going to play the Open Championship. He's probably going to have 2 more cracks at this, right? After this week, maybe he has 3M. He maybe has the Wyndham, assuming that he's going to get either a sponsor's exemption or play his way into those events. Like, that's it. He's got 2 or 3 starts left, seemingly, on the PGA Tour to earn enough points this season to get into the playoffs. So there has never been so much motivation for Seamus Power as he's so close. So that's going to be my attention at the top of the board. And then I'll probably just sprinkle some guys in the mid to long shot ranges. My 2 favorite long shots are probably Kramer Hickok. He's 70-1. He, had that battle with Harris English 2 weeks ago, made the cut last week. This is a course that, for whatever reason, whatever you want to determine the reasoning is, players who hit a lot of fairways have had a lot of success at TPC Deere Run. And that's what Kramer Hickok does well. And he putts okay. We know that he, might be on an upward trend. 3 of his last 4 starts have been pretty good. So I like Kramer Hickok at 70. Might see this as a big opportunity. And then the other one, Satoshi Kodaira. It's time to go back to him. Some places he was 175-1 on Monday. I'm seeing him at 150-1. William Hill has him at 125-1. So there are certainly long numbers out there. I think this is a much better setup for him than Detroit Golf Club. And he almost figured out a way to make the cut and play well last week. I mean, without the last 6 holes or so, Kodaira was pretty good. He was 6 under par. He was trending towards the weekend. He was putting himself in position. He has unlocked something with the putter. I don't know what it is, but I would love to find it out. And at a course like this, an event like this, where, again, you're probably going to need to be 20 under par to win, the ability to roll in putts like this is unbelievable. Only Troy Merritt has gained more strokes putting in the last 24 rounds than Satoshi Kodaira, and the ball striking has come around. So it's a really interesting place. This might be the last crack at him. If he misses the cut this week, if his ball striking regresses again, might be time to get off for a while. But I think we got to give him one more go around after a missed cut that now we've got a really, really good number on. I think that's fair. All right, let's go over to the head-to-head matchups tool here. This is where you can put in any time frame that you want, any 2 golfers that you want, and see the likelihood of them winning a 4-round matchup over one another. And the one that catches my attention right off the bat here is Brian Harman and Daniel Berger, who both have been really good, but I'm kind of surprised to see Berger at -125 to Brian Harman's -103. So let's see what's going on here. My mouse is tweaking out. Okay, so I have Brian Harman winning this 54% of the time, making him -119. That is about what DraftKings has him at. Now, if we open this up a little bit, because I was talking about, that stretch of golf that Brian Harman has played essentially since this time last year and how good it is. Yeah, Berger's outpaced him essentially the entire time. So I guess Brian Harman has been very good, but Daniel Berger's been sneaky better. That's impressive stuff. This one's interesting. Munoz versus Lebioda. Now, I imagine the shorter term we go, the better Hank is going to get. So I have this opened up for the last year. Wow. And Lebioda crushes Munoz here. 71%. Wow. Munoz. Okay, so DraftKings has Munoz at -125, Lebioda -103. I have Lebioda winning at 71% of the time. That's massive. And that's from a longer term. Even if we go more recent, I mean, has Munoz been this bad? I know he's been missing a lot of cuts, but wow. Okay, well, I think that's going to have to be a bet. It's probably unlikely that any golfer is 74% to win over another one that's paired together in a matchup. But the fact that even in the time frame that I thought I couldn't get Lebioda to be a favorite in, he's a significant favorite, and he's the dog on DraftKings. So I'm going to go with Lebioda over Sebastian Munoz. That's wow, shocking to me. And then this other one here, I think is more interesting, or interesting because Mav McNeely has played better recently, and Patton Kizzire has had flashes, but Patton Kizzire is much more of a popper, which the model doesn't always love. Now, they're about 50-50. Kizzire, 52% if you go a little bit more recent. If we go back a little bit further, since the start of the year, it's almost a dead heat, 50-50. If we go back a little bit further than that, let's say the start of the season, Kizzire just a hair of a favorite. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get this close enough. If you want to go like the last three starts, it would be Maverick McNeely, but I'm not sure that's the sample size that you really want here. So I'm thinking this is probably a no bet. They have McNeely as well, actually, maybe not. Maybe you want the Kizzire side because a lot of them are 50-50 and they have Kizzire at +115, Mav McNeely -150. Should Mav McNeely be -150 to anyone? That's not a knock on him. I like his game. He's played better recently, but that's surprising. Kizzire was great on Sunday last week. That seems a little bit off to me. Maybe the side to bet is Kizzire. Let's talk one and done real quick. Run Good one and done update. Castor Joshua out in front. Graybo, Nash the Flash, Jared Hebby, and Chappy Chaps. I know a lot of us had Jason Kokrak last week, myself included. He was, I think, T4 before he got to 17. I was thinking, okay, maybe he can make an eagle here. Maybe he can get himself into content, try to steal this away, get into a playoff. He made bogey and lost us a lot of money. There was like an 8-way tie for 8th. He dropped out of that. I think he finished 14th, and that's a nothing burger, unfortunately. So that's it. One shot here, 2 shots there, certainly add up, and we are coming down the home stretch. So for the Run Good one and done, we have this week, next week. Oh, I guess we still have some events left. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 events left. So plan accordingly if you are trying to move up, if you're trying to win a segment, if you're trying to front run, know what you're trying to do, essentially. For this week, I actually think these weeks are kind of the easiest because you don't have a lot of incentive to save any of these guys. If you wanted to play Brian Harman, if you wanted to play Sung J M, if you wanted to play Russell Henley or Kevin Streelman or Seamus Power or whatever, you can really do whatever you want. And there's no issue with saving these guys. So I find these weeks to be a little bit easier. The way that I'm probably going to go, Harman, I think I've used in some of the bigger one and dones, the longer ones for ones we've been playing since the beginning of the season. I've probably burned Harman in a couple of these, so I'll see if I have him available. If I have him available, I'll run him out. Outside of that, I think Streelman's fine, but I'm pretty enamored with Seamus Power. This is a guy that we've been talking about for months now, and how he's been splitting time between the Korn Ferry and the PGA, and he's been playing well, and now he's playing great up here. He's doing it in a very sustainable way, and maybe I'm overblowing the motivation factor, but I really think this is a week that Seamus Power has to understand literally every shot matters. That is something that they feed us. The last week at Wyndham on the coverage where they're like, oh, every shot matters over the course of a year. It really does now for Seamus Power. So I think we're going to get a full-on grind effort from him. Hopefully the game is in the same shape that we've seen it in the last couple of starts, and maybe he can make a run at this thing. So that's where I'm pretty. If I have Harmon, I'll use him. If I don't, I'll use Power. That's basically where I'm going. If you need to go further, which I doubt you do, because all of these guys should be available to you, and all of these guys should be, I think the ownership's going to be pretty spread out. I don't even know where you would go after that. Probably Streelman would be my third option. Probably Glover 4, or Siwoo. You could just take a flyer on Siwoo and understand that you're getting high risk, high reward, but I don't think that's the worst play in the world. But yeah, I think it's a pretty straightforward week. I think it's $1.3 million up top. Next week, obviously, the Open Championship is going to be a huge purse, and then we're going to have a sprint with there's going to be another WGC. We're going to start the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of money to be had, and there's going to be a lot more difficult decisions to be made than this week. Okay, let me know what you think. Tweet me at RickRunGood. Leave a comment below. Best of luck this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.